Hi, my name is Laura Johnson. I am a certified master personal branding and digital strategist and a founding member of the Career Experts Group. I have a rather eclectic background that includes 10 years in social work, followed by another 10 years in organization development, where I focused on management and leadership development in financial services. For the last 14 years, I've worked in the career industry in career transition, most recently partnering with executives to create branded resumes, bios, and LinkedIn profiles. The best part of the work I do is hearing and actually being a part of so many great career stories. Today, I will show you the ins and outs of the executive board resume. So let's get started. Just as a quick review, executive resume basics, you've got a headline with your contact information that no longer includes your physical address, just your city, state, zip code, your cell phone, your email, your LinkedIn URL. You want to customize your resume to your target markets, which means doing research and creating a list, and we'll talk more about that. Have a targeted title, so right away your reader knows what kind of position you're looking to achieve. And the top of your resume can include a branding statement, a branded summary, core competencies, key strengths. You also want to demonstrate your business impact, and not just the day-to-day impact, but the overall, over a long period of time impact that where you've left the organization better, and the results that speak to that, and results that speak to your target about that impact. Types of boards that are both paid and unpaid include opportunities in nonprofit, for-profit corporate opportunities, advisory roles in startups. Advisory roles might be paid or unpaid, depending on the organization. And if you haven't gotten a lot of experience yet in boards and you feel like you need to build up that experience, volunteering for a community organization, volunteering in your community is a great way to get started, as well as looking at your professional and trade organizations to see what kinds of committees you can become involved in to start building that experience. I found some interesting stats that I thought I'd share with you as you build your target lists and you think about also what you bring to the table, what gaps you might fill for organizations on their boards. I found information through Spencer Stuart. They put out a yearly board index highlight report. And for 2021, they did an analysis of board governance practices for the S&P 500. And I thought these were interesting stats. So for nominating and governance committees, the priorities over the next 3 years include expanding and enhancing ESG oversight. And ESG stands for environmental, social, and governance oversights. So things like climate change, waste management, energy efficiency, human rights, gender equality, board structure, business ethics. They're looking to that. The most important priority is to enhance those, expand those and enhance those. Also enhancing racial and ethnic diversity. They're looking to build more diverse boards, and in nearly half of the organizations that Spencer Stuart looked at, this was a priority. Developing a boardroom succession strategy. And I thought it was interesting in this point that nominating committees actually start to search 12 months prior to a director's retirement. So when they know someone's going to retire, they start looking 12 months before, a year ahead of time. And so it could be a longer process for you to find that board opportunity, or even start to serve on that board, depending on where they are in their search process. They're also looking for ways to enhance board effectiveness. More and more organizations are putting performance evaluations in place for their board members. And they also want to oversee diversity, equity, and inclusion company-wide. So not just reflecting it on the board, but making sure it's also reflected into the organization. The top 5 recruiting priorities. So where do they they see gaps in their board membership now, underrepresented groups, that diversity is key. Global perspective and experience. So if you have that, that is something you're going to want to highlight on your resume. Technology experience, financial experience, operational experience, all of those things are priorities for board organizations and where they may have gaps. So where do you start? First, you identify your unique selling proposition. How do you match to the board's specific core competencies? You create a target list of companies. What companies appeal to you? Where would you like to work? What would you like to support? And create that list within the industry that you're coming out of, and even related or complementary industries. And then you want to do your research. You want to find out where their gaps are. And you can look at proxy statements, board skill matrices. You can look and explore backgrounds of existing board members on LinkedIn. You may even find out through LinkedIn or Google when someone might be retiring who is stepping out of a space that is creating a gap you can fill. And then put your network to work. So who do you know and who do they know? And start to generate some introductions into organizations where you would be interested in working on being a member of their board. And lastly, have a board-focused resume ready to go. So board resumes are unique and different from traditional resumes. They are shorter. Most executive resumes are at least 2 pages long, some longer than that, depending on industries, and 30, 40 years of experience takes up a lot of real estate on a resume. But board resumes are usually shorter. Board-related experience is listed before professional experience. So on traditional resumes, we do that the other way around. You also want to include board adjacent work where applicable, and you can put it in within the position in the experience section, or also under a separate heading. But that experience would include things like executive committee membership, if you've chaired or been an executive sponsor for employee resource groups, have you done regular presentation to board members, those kinds of things. Another great thing about a board resume is that there's no need to hide your longevity, and dates on things are good, even if they go back 30 years. Ageism is not something that we need to worry about. They are looking for people with decades of experience. And on board resumes, we include photos where we don't on your more traditional resumes, especially in the United States. And you always want to focus on those board-specific competencies that your targets are looking for. So when you do that research and look at those proxy statements, you find those gaps, that's what you focus your message on. So some more specific core competencies, more usual core competencies, we see P&L ownership, corporate strategy, digital transformation, fundraising, risk management, global operations, corporate governance, diversity, equity, and inclusion. These are some of the competencies that boards look for, where they may have a gap, and a gap that you can fill. Other things that you might consider including on your resume are you want to list your industry experience, especially if you've worked in multi-industries, pharmaceutical, retail, manufacturing, financial services. You want to include all of those industries to show your diversity in your experience. Corporate leadership roles, you want to highlight the scope and the scale of your positions, including total number of employees, annual revenue, where you can identify that. Team leadership, how large were your teams? How many people did you directly lead? Who reported directly to you? How big were those teams and organizations? International and global experience. So you're listing countries and regions where you have lived, where you've worked, or where you've managed operations. And you also want to include a separate section if you have notable contributions such as speaking engagements, awards, patents, thought leadership. So I want to jump into our first resume example here. We've got Jennifer Smith, and Jennifer is focused on for-profit corporate opportunities, and she's a fairly new candidate, so she doesn't have a lot of board experience. She has board adjacent experience, but not a lot of board experience. So as you can see here, we've got a photo for her, we've got a branding statement, a targeted title, core competencies, we've got a board. She does have a membership on one corporate board that she got more recently. And then we list her affiliation experience and her corporate leadership. So Jennifer has 30 years of strategy, digital innovation, and business growth and transformation. This is her branding statement. And then we go to the title. We might include in this title also board candidate, if we decided, we wanted to be even more direct. And then we include some core competencies for her organizational leadership, her brand leadership and revitalization, her digital transformation, and her innovation. And we talk about the fact that she is an experienced board director because she does have that one role that she's been nominated for. She's also an experienced C-suite executive in public manufacturing companies. And for Jennifer, we listed those companies and the size of those companies because they're notable, recognizable. She led digital transformation, M&A, global expansion, brand innovation, brand revitalization. And we talk about the different brands that she has worked with because they also are notable. And we talk about her background, her groundbreaking innovations, and her solid foundation of leadership and strategy, serving as a lieutenant colonel in the United States Navy. Her board leadership is next. And again, as I said, because she's got the one for-profit board role now, we took a little more real estate on the resume to talk about what that company does and what she's responsible for as one of the board members. She approves large expenditures, projects, and other capital investments. And then we included her board adjacent work in this section rather than including it within her experience section because I really thought we should call it out here. She has a number of key affiliations with large organizations, working with a senator, as an executive sponsor. So we really wanted that to be obvious and as current on the resume as we could. And then we talk about her corporate leadership, but as you see here, it's where she worked and what role she had in that organization. We don't go into details other than that. And we only include the executive roles that she had. She worked at ABCD Company for a number of years. We go back to 2005 in listing the positions that she had. Prior to that, she was not an executive. And then, of course, her United States Navy position and responsibility for the huge weapons systems division that she led for several years for the Navy. In the education, because she went to notable schools, including the United States Naval Academy, she was a top graduate throughout her educational career. So we noted top graduate awards for both of her degrees. We're moving on to Jeff Smith. He is coming out of nonprofit. His career was in nonprofit, and he is targeting nonprofit organizations or not-for-profit organizations, and he's an experienced board member. We structured him a little differently, designed it a little different. We listed his board leadership and his affiliations on the side in the column here with his education, to give us more real estate to talk about some of his contributions because they are directly related to the kind of board service he's targeting. So again, Jeff at the top, we have his name and we have a succinct title, Strategic Leader and Board Member. And he's got 25 years of operations, revenue, business development, finance, public policy, marketing, and public relations experience. He's globally experienced and he's strengthened financials, operational direction, competitive advantage. He's directed multi-million-dollar budgets through critical transition, challenge, and growth. So he's got experience in several economic environments. And he's also a dynamic and motivational speaker with audiences from 10 to 1,000 people. And we include boards, industry leaders, community groups, conventions. And then we dive into his selected leadership contributions. He's achieved 5 consecutive years of revenue growth through operational revenue channels. He's generated 200% revenue growth, 400% increase in fundraising dollars, transforming struggling businesses. He's led and developed strategy for public policy campaigns. He's restructured organizations. So he's got a lot of great relatable experience. And then if we look closer at the side column, you can see his board leadership. He's currently on 3 boards, and he's presently serving on those boards. The career highlights, just like with Jennifer, are quick and sweet here. Where he worked, he's currently running his own consulting business as a strategic advisor and principal to nonprofit organizations. He comes from a big nonprofit world where he was president, executive director. He worked in corporate relations and major gifts. He was an advocacy outreach director, government relations director, government relations liaison. A lot of, again, very relatable, connectable experience. Additional experience, even though it goes further back in his career and may not be the executive level that I talked about with Jennifer's resume, but is again, experience that relates and is important for his targets to know: director of advocacy, events manager, and events coordinator. And then Jeff received some pretty neat recognition. In 2018, his organization was selected as a first-time award winner because of the major fundraising and revenue growth that they achieved. And their competition was for 4,200 nonprofit organizations. So they were the one winner. And also in 2015, he was identified as an executive to watch by a major magazine. And then you can see over on the side, we finish with listing his affiliations, which also are current. He speaks several languages, so we wanted to call that out. And then we have his education. So I want to thank you for joining me today. I hope this has been helpful. If you want to learn more about career experts groups, by all means, please go to our website, www.careerexpertsgroup.com. We also have a newsletter. It's a monthly newsletter we're really, really proud of, called Your Career, Your Future. You can access that newsletter on our website. You can go to our website, go to /newsletter-sign-up, and you can subscribe to that newsletter. If you have any questions or any comments about this presentation or questions about our newsletter or Career Experts Group in general, you can email info@careerexperts.com, or you can reach out to me at laura@lauralejohnson.com. I really hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I hope you'll check out our newsletter for career advice, industry trends, job finding, skills, personal branding, and diversity, equity, and inclusion. Thank you very much and have a great day.